Hi everyone, I finally finished the Alex shirt dress by Sew Over It. It's in their ebook City Break. So you can see it's on Olivia here, but if you'd like to see some pictures of me in it and find out what I think about the pattern, then please stay tuned. Hi everyone, my name's Laura and I'm the Carpe Diem Stitcher. Welcome to or welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I thought I would do a pattern review of the Alex shirt dress. It's actually a shirt or a dress and it's in the Sew Over It ebook City Break, which I bought a little while ago. So I finally got it done. And you can see I've got it on Olivia at the moment. If I just turn the camera around, she was threatening to go off and work for Vivienne Westwood, so I thought I'd better get her in another video. Now she's sliding about a bit, unfortunately, because I don't think I've quite set her height right. So if I just show you, if I try and tilt the camera down a little bit, you can see that it's pretty loose on her. And she's more or less the same sort of size as me. She probably hasn't had as many cream teas as I've had recently, but she's not far off. So in terms of sizing, I'm just looking over here because I've got my laptop open with the sizing on. So I made the size 8, which is the smallest of the sizes, which is intended for a bust of 33 inches, a waist of 26 inches and a hip of 36 inches. Really, I should sit somewhere between the size 10 and the size 12 or even a 14, because the size 10 is for a 35-inch bust, which is more or less what I am. And then the size 12 is a 30-inch waist and 40-inch hip, and I'm probably somewhere between that and the size 14, which is a 32-inch waist and a 42-inch hip. But when you look at the actual finished garment measurements in inches, the size 8 has 41-inch bust finished garment measurement, 43-inch waist and hip 46, so I thought that would be absolutely fine. If I'd made the size 10 round the bust, it would have been 43 inches, and I thought that 8 inches of ease was just too much for me. So I took, I suppose, a bit of a risk. Well, probably not that much of a risk because it's such a loose style anyway, and I just made the size 8, and I think it's absolutely fine. And as I said, as you can see, you can see on Olivia, sorry, I thought I'd just stop the video, but I haven't. It is pretty loose. And in fact, you'll see, I'll put some pictures in of me wearing it. Actually, I wear it with a belt even now, and I don't think I would wear it without a belt. I think it would just be too loose and it wouldn't really suit my style. So you'll see when I put the pictures in, I've got it with a just a basic pink belt. I'm actually going to buy a new one to wear it properly because the one I'm wearing has frankly had it and needs replacing. But I'm going to buy a narrowish pink belt to wear with it. There are instructions in the pattern for making a straight tie belt out of the same fabric, or obviously you could use a contrasting fabric, but I just prefer the look of the different texture around my waist, so I've chosen not to do that. I haven't made the belt. So if I talk you through it, I will just actually pause the video and take it off Olivia so that I can show you the inside. Okay, I'm back. Just before I go on and show you the inside of the dress, I was just thinking I should have added about the sizing, that because of the ease on it, I think, although this only goes up to a 45-inch bust, 38-inch waist and 48-inch hip, there is still, even at the size 20, which is the top measurement, It's a 53-inch bust, 55-inch waist and 58-inch hip finished garment measurements. So although they're not the most inclusive sizes in the world, you would probably be able to make it if you're a bit bigger than the actual sizing that it's got on the pattern. So some of you might find that useful. So that's all I wanted to say really about sizing. So, sorry, just quick squeak. I don't know what it is about filming, but every time I film, I get a frog in my throat. No idea why. Anyway. So, in terms of this dress, I know I said to you when I was talking about the shirt dresses I was going to make, that I was going to make a couple of others in viscose, and I decided that I would want to French seam the viscose ones. So I've done it on this one as a practice, so all the seams are French seamed. You see, even that's round one of the sleeve, bits of the sleeve, and all the way down the side. So I did that, didn't find it too bad, except sometimes, you know, when you're making something and you keep making silly mistakes, and I did that a lot. I don't know what it was. I don't know whether it was because I was sewing because I was a bit stressed while I was away, but I kept nearly attaching the sleeve in the wrong place, or I think at one point, I've got no excuse at this point because I was still at home, I started trying to attach the collar to the sleeve, the arm side, and then realised mercifully, and once I got it in the right place, it went in just fine. My understanding is that the instructions in the Sew Over It ebooks are a little bit more sparse than they are in the main patterns. So I don't know, I do own some Sew Over It patterns, but I haven't actually made any yet apart from this one. So I can't really comment on that. I think in hindsight I would have printed them out. I think I found it kind of frustrating to keep flicking backwards and forwards on the laptop, or also on my iPad, and that made the instructions quite small and I couldn't really see what was going on in the diagrams. So I think next time I would print them out. It's got a back yoke in it. I didn't put it in using the method that the instructions suggested. I just used the burrito method, which I learnt on a tutorial from the Stitch Sisters, which you can purchase from their website. So I'll link their website down below. But every time I make a shirt, I follow their videos. I just find it really helpful. And I've got one of my little French labels in here because I thought it went so well with the colour of the dress. So it just says "Fait par une fille," made by a fairy, and I just thought that was really cute and goes in it really well. The fabric is a cotton poplin from Pound Fabrics, so I'll pop the link to that down below, but it's sewed up really beautifully, and I just really like the brightness of the fabric. And then I got the buttons from my local wool shop actually, so just some fairly plain pink buttons. I was a bit spoilt for choice for colour, but that's what I did. So I made 3 slight changes to the pattern, 2 of which were completely intentional and the third one wasn't. So I'll talk about the intentional changes first, and then I'll tell you about the unintentional one, and those of you who've made the shirt before will probably have spotted it already. So I chose to put pockets in, and that's the pattern piece for the pocket from the Clemence skirt in the first Tilly and the Buttons book, Love at First Stitch. So I put that in. I think if I did them again, I might make them slightly bigger, but they're fine. And I quite like how I've got them on my body, where they've come out on my body. And these are all French seamed in as well and slightly recessed. And I followed a really helpful tutorial on YouTube, which I'll link down below, which is about how to put pockets into a side seam when it's French seamed, and that was by Sian from Kitness Behaviour. So I'll link that down below, and I'll also link a video that is done by Lucy at Sew Essential about how to do French seams around sleeves, because I found that really useful as well. So that was the first change I made. I put in the French seam pockets. The second thing I did, which is really just personal preference really, when I'm doing a shirt hem, and I did the same on this shirt dress hem, because it's it's very scoopy. It's really a shirt tail hem, if you can see that. Can you see that? Yeah. Okay. So instead of hemming it as per the instructions, what I did was I simply used bias binding. So you'll see I've got, on the inside, I've got the Specky Seamstress made to measure bias binding, which I really like, and luckily the thread that I was using for the fabric actually goes quite nicely as a contrast. It matches in quite nicely with the wording and the hearts on the bias binding. So I did that, and that worked really well, really nicely, so I'm really pleased with that. And so the unintentional change. So when I cut out the pattern pieces, I was doing it largely not on the fold, and I didn't follow the pattern piece layout, because my fabric, despite being so busy, is actually only one directional, and so I was being really careful not to kind of get it the wrong way up, and so I wasn't really thinking, and I had plenty of fabric, so I wasn't really thinking too much about following the layout on the instructions. And in fact, the other thing that I was getting really slightly obsessed with, but it worked out really well, was matching the pattern on the front, on the centre front, and I got a really useful video that I found, not that I made, that I found about how to do that. So I'll find that and I'll link that down below as well, because actually it worked really well, and I'll try and put in a close-up photograph of the pattern matching on the front, but I think it worked really nicely, so I was really happy with that. So I did that, but what I failed to notice was that the sleeve is actually made up of two main pattern pieces, and you're meant to stick them together, and so that you end up with something like probably a 3/4 length sleeve, and then you've got sleeve tabs. So I cut out both bits of sleeve, and I cut out the sleeve tabs, and I sewed up the sleeve tabs, and then while I was away I got ready to do the sleeves, and I got out the bits of sleeve, and I thought, this doesn't look right. I was trying to attach the sleeve tab, that's right, the first thing you do is you attach the sleeve tab to the sleeve. And I looked at it and I thought, this doesn't look right, it doesn't look the right shape. And then the penny dropped, and on the pattern pieces it says quite clearly, join here at this line. So I thought about it, and I thought, okay, well, I've probably got enough fabric that I could recut the pieces, although where I was staying while I was away, it wouldn't have been that easy to cut anything out. I could have, but it wouldn't have been that easy, so abandoned that suggestion. And then I thought, okay, well, do I just sew them together and have a seam? And I thought, no, it's just going to look really odd. Although I might have got away with it, because the idea is that you roll up the sleeve and then you sew in you have the sleeve tab so that you can wear it with the sleeve down, but then you've got the sleeve tab kind of floating about. And in the end I just left it, and all I did was I set in the top part of the sleeves, and I just hemmed them, just turned them up and put in a hem. And actually, I really like it. And I think if I made it again, I would do the same again, to be honest, because I think, much as I really like the sleeve tabs as a detail where you have the sleeve rolled up and then the tab fastening like that, I think it makes it quite difficult to put anything over the top unless you've got a very roomy cardigan. I think it looks a bit odd, and I think if you're cold you can't put the sleeves down very well. So I think it's easier just to have them short sleeved and then wear a cardigan over it. So I think if I made it again, that's what I would do. I'd actually just do the same again and not bother with the tabs. And I've now got some nice offcuts of the fabric which I can turn into pockets or something next time round, so it's fine. So yeah, so I like it with the belt more than I expected to while I was making it, although I still absolutely love this fabric. I think it's really me. I'll try and pop a picture of my colour palette in there, but I think it's, you know, it's those bright colours again, and I just like it. I think sometimes I think I'm not going to suit a busy pattern, but actually I'm just really pleased with it. And it was one of those fabrics where you look at it and you think, shall I, shan't I, shall I, shan't I? And then you think, oh, go on. Yeah, let's just get it. So I really like it. Would I make it again? Yes, probably. Maybe not immediately, but I would make it again. And the other thing that I think about it is that actually I think I could get something like a thin jersey top, or yeah, something like that, a thin sweater underneath it, and then I could wear it certainly in the autumn as well, or in the spring, with tights and boots, and I think that would look absolutely fine as well. So I think although it is clearly a summer piece, and can be worn in the summer, and you'll see I'm wearing it with sandals in the video, and excuse my really unsuntanned legs. I think, yeah, it is an item that would go into certainly early autumn and could be worn in late spring as well. So I'm really happy with it. I'm really glad I got it finished. There were times that frankly I wanted to throw it out of the window, but that absolutely wasn't the fault of the pattern. It was just me, and I'm probably sewing when I wasn't. I wanted to sew because sewing relaxes me, but I probably wasn't really in the right kind of mood to sew. And certainly since I've been home and I had the bits to finish off, so I had to finish the hem and I had to do the buttons and buttonholes, it all went absolutely fine. So I think some of it was more to do with how I was feeling at the time I was sewing, and arguably I shouldn't have been sewing, I don't know. But the other thing I wanted to say is that I cut my buttonholes and lined up all my buttons and things using my cutting table yesterday, and that's the first time I've been able to do that. Normally I have to crawl about on the floor with my cutting mat and try and do it, and it was so much quicker. So although I bought the table to cut out on, I think it's just going to be fantastic for doing things like that. So I'm really pleased that I've got that. So I really hope that you enjoyed that brief review, bit of a shorter one from me this week, but hopefully you'll find that interesting and useful. I'll just finish quickly with what I'm actually wearing. So what I'm wearing is the Tea House top by Sew House 7. I can't remember if I've shown you this before, but for once I'm wearing it actually as a summer top and not wearing it with a sweater underneath it. If I've worn it before, I certainly would have worn it with something underneath it, which is how I normally wear it. But because it's nice and warm, I'm just wearing it as it is. And it's got this, I actually lengthened the ties on it, so they're meant to be shorter than this. But it just means for me that I can tie it round like that and have the ties meeting at the front. If I was wearing it all day, I'd tie it like a kind of shirt tie there. But I've tended to shy away from wearing it in the summer. But actually, I'm really quite pleased with it. I quite like it. I certainly like it in the winter. But that's what I'm wearing at the moment. Okay, so I hope you've all had a lovely week. Thank you for the comments that I've received so far on my previous video where I talked a bit about why I'd been away, and I've had some really lovely welcome back comments, so thank you to you all for those. If you've enjoyed what you see, please continue to like and subscribe. That really helps me get my video out to other people, and I hope to catch up with you all soon. In the meantime, I hope you're getting some sewing done. Bye for now.